Welcome back everyone to the channel. My name is Luke and today we are talking about M3GAN. This is the new horror johnstone slasher movie from Blum House, now playing in theaters. It's directed by Gerard Johnstone. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that last name. James Wan has a writing credit and stars Allison Williams, Violet McCraw, and Amy Donald. Essentially what we have here is a robotics engineer that's working on the next breakthrough toy for children in the robotics AI realm, and has been secretly working on a project that they're calling M3GAN, which is essentially this AI learning powered robot that will pair with a human and be their best friend. So nothing really crazy, nothing super new that we've seen all this before in many different films, and once you watch this, you'll pick up on all of these references. I mean, initially you will think about the Terminator, right? It's basically the same type of thing. Terminator is this cyborg that looks and acts like a human, but in that realm, they're coming from the future, versus here we're actually building something. If you watch my little first reaction, I mentioned Terminator and Child's Play. But, following up on that, if you've watched the newer Child's Play, the Chucky doll in there was actually this robotic type doll versus what we get in the original Child's Play film. So we do get those similarities here, but what I like about M3GAN is that it's just generally self-aware of what it is. It knows that it's a silly, dark comedy horror film that's going for that more campy approach. And once we're introduced to M3GAN, and once M3GAN is finished, we get a lot of screen time. And we're pretty much following three characters. We're following Gemma, who is played by Allison Williams, Katie, and M3GAN. Katie is Violet McCraw. And I really appreciate what they did within the first act of this, because Katie is with her parents going on a ski trip. And unfortunately, a bad accident happens, which unfortunately Katie loses her parents, and now she's under the guardianship of Gemma, who is her aunt. There's probably some details I overlooked in this. There's one moment where Gemma's looking at her calendar, and it looks like she is supposed to be going on this ski trip with them, but we don't really get the depth of what her full relationship is with Katie, with her sister, brother-in-law. We know that she's not a fan of her brother-in-law's parents, who live in Florida. We don't really get much mention of her parents, so my understanding is they're probably not with them anymore. But this is really fascinating when it comes to the connection of children and technology of these days. I connected with this from different standpoints because I'm a father, so I do kind of monitor my children and how they're using technology, but I'm also an engineer as well, so I do geek out over watching how some of this is created and built. So I connect with the Gemma character in terms of that she's this software hardware engineer working on this next breakthrough technology. But even within this, we're following Gemma's career path through this company, who is now facing competitors that are building similar products. One of which that they launched with was like this robotic fur type creature. So M3GAN is just that third evolution of this. And they're wanting to get to the market first to beat out their competitors and get this at a price point that's going to push their company forward. But there are moments in this, especially going within David, who is the CEO, Gemma's boss. His assistant is trying to do some stuff behind the scenes. I would have really loved to see where that could go, because the one thing, if there's anything of the downside of this, is that it is a predictable movie. Like I said before, we've seen movies like this before. It's nothing like that new. So there's a lot of moments that were very predictable, but I think it would have been fascinating to go in the depths of some of these side characters and what they're doing and where it could lead to, because this definitely opens up to a big universe. I could even see M3GAN, there could be a crossover with M3GAN and Chucky from the newer Child's Play in terms of like these both cybernetic AI dolls that kind of go head to head. That could be cool, but that's a whole different video. But in terms of this one, We get a few side characters that get their screen time. There's a couple of interesting things that I definitely wish they could have gone more into. But when going back into the main star of this, it's really the relationship between Katie and M3GAN. M3GAN does some really bizarre things in this, such as breaking out into song at random times. There's some dance moments. And there's definitely some moments that get more on the gore horror level. This is a PG-13 film, so you can see that there's probably a lot more they could have gone into. I've heard rumors there was a rated R version, but they decided to cut a lot of that out to bring this to a PG-13 rating. Honestly, I'd love to see the rated R version. There's a couple of moments in here that are standouts that if they would have kept pushing the boundaries, I mean, this could have definitely built a different audience, but you can kind of see with what they've done, the audience they're trying to go for. So overall, you know, M3GAN's nothing crazy, it's nothing new, but I did have a fun time watching it. I appreciate where they're coming from. They realize that this is a silly thriller doll type movie. They get that, they play with it. There are some slow moments in this, but that being said, it's an hour and 42 minutes. It's not a horrible runtime. It paces very well. It keeps you entertained. Once M3GAN is on the screen and gets her screen time, you definitely stay glued to the screen to see where it's going to go and how things come to play. But yeah, let me know. Did you see this? What did you think of it? Was this the first movie you saw in 2023? This is the first one I'm kicking the year off with, but tons of movies coming out. I'm excited to see. I will be back maybe later today, maybe early next week, talk about my most anticipated films, or at least just films that I'm looking forward to this year. There's a lot of them coming out. But to wrap things up, M3GAN, I will give a 6 out of 10. It's a fun film, not one I'll probably revisit a lot, but if you've got nothing going on this weekend, it's a great popcorn flick, especially for January, where, you know, typically we see films just don't really do the greatest in January, but I think this one will do okay. Thanks so much for checking out the channel. Be sure to like and subscribe so that way you can be up to date when I get more reviews out, more videos. Thank you so much for all your support. Excited to put out more reviews this year. Hope everyone has a great 2023. We'll see you soon.